I think there are too many people who are trying to come into the United States. There are too many people who are trying to go into South Africa, too many people who are trying to go. But now let's ask ourselves the question, why are there so many people trying to do that? Contrary to popular belief, most people want to live in their homes. Most people don't want to go to another country. Most people don't want to give up everything that has defined them, their language, their music, their food, their culture. They don't want to let it go, but they're forced to let it go. And then I often say to them, I'm like, so why not invest in keeping everybody where they are? You know, we had Mia Motley on the show, on the podcast, and she really laid it out in one of the most beautiful ways possible. Here you have like the Prime Minister of Barbados, a tiny nation, but her voice has been outsized, where she says...
She's amazing.
She's phenomenal. And she goes, you think that the small nations do not matter in the world, and yet all the big nations are complaining about the people from the small nations, not understanding that they are part of the cause that the small nations have an exodus in the first place.
So hello guys, today we're going to see some videos and going to have some little discussion on the reasons why people have to migrate to different countries. And you're going to dig a bit deeper to see what these reasons, what are these things that push people to be forced to move from one country to another. So for example, somebody coming from Africa has to go, to the United States or to the Middle East because of various reasons. Or you find out somebody from the Middle East has to change the location. So as we watch these videos, you're going to have various perspectives. You're going to have some understanding on why people have to, or the reasons behind immigration.
One of the greatest gifts and curses a person can get is the ability to leave their hometown. Mm-hmm. Because you leave your hometown and now you choose to go live somewhere else. When you've chosen to go live somewhere else, you're now going to encounter other people who've also chosen to go, but they didn't choose to live next to you and you didn't choose to live next to them. And so now you go, I hate my neighbor. I wish they would move. I hate my neighbor. I need to move. I hate this neighborhood. I need to get out. I hate this neighborhood. I wish they would change it. But you exist in a state of constantly wishing for the thing or the people around you to change because you believe it's possible.
Right.
But there's very few people who have that same expression about like where they're from.
Oh, that's such a great insight.
Do you understand?
Home is home.
You just go like, hey man, this is what it is. So you go, where are you from? I'm from a little town in the middle of wherever.
Yeah.
And I go like, you go like, oh yeah, Jimbo. Yeah, man, Jimbo's like this and he's like that. And actually, oh, Mary, I don't like Mary because she's always saying these things to my mom.
You don't wish for them to move. You don't wish.
You don't hear people say that. I wish Mary would move. Move where?
Oh,
move where?
This is such a great insight.
Like move where?
Which is the blessing and curse of basically what an urban center is.
Yeah, because
which is there's too much choice.
Yes, and the main thing is you have been told there is a choice of community.
Can we talk about how heartbreaking it is as a second-generation immigrant to not be able to visit your motherland? Now, for some context, I am Haitian Canadian. I was born in Canada, but both of my parents are from Haiti. I grew up with a lot of my peers, especially my Arab peers, going back to their motherland during the holidays. I had friends who would go back to Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, whatever the case is. I thought that was really cool. Now that I'm older, I have a lot of friends who are African. During this time of the year, a lot of them go back to Nigeria, Ghana, whatever country they're from. And it always makes me so sad to know that I can't just go to Haiti. And I just hope that you guys hear what I'm saying. I know that I can technically go to Haiti. If we're being honest, the country isn't in the best state because of all the political instability and the ongoing crises. But I'm at an age now where I wish that I could go for myself and learn more about my culture, learn more about my heritage. So one, I could pass it on to my kids. There's already a loss of culture because I'm not born in Haiti. It's not something that I can do now. And every time it's the holidays, it makes me sad. And the reason why I highlight being a second-generation immigrant is because my parents have good memories of the country, amazing stories to tell. I don't have that. Anyways, I don't know if any of you can relate. If so, I feel for you. My heart goes out to you because it really sucks to not be able to go back home.
I think an immigrant has that impulse to, because they're willing to shake up their life, right? And so once you've made this once you've made the most important of all decisions about shaking up your life, which is I am leaving family,
Uprooting
friends, and
yourself.
culture and
Yeah.
going somewhere else, then everything else seems trivial in comparison, right? Like, you've done the hard thing. Like what else, you've already thumbed your nose at what everyone else in your circle is doing. You've left. So like now you can, why are comics so often from, either immigrant groups or marginalized groups? Because they've already done the big thing right after. So it's easy after that.
I wonder if it's augmented by whether or not you chose your immigration. Because when you were saying that, I was trying to think through, and I actually feel like there's almost two camps if we were going to make it binary. I think there are some immigrants who are the opposite of that.
Mm-hmm.
There are many immigrants who are like, no, I do not shake. There's no mischief. My only goal is to fully become this new world because I don't necessarily have another choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I wonder if like you're more likely to keep that mischief when your choice was the thing.
Yeah.
Because if you shake up your world, you're mischievous. But if the world shakes up your life, then you don't necessarily have that same thing, I think. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does. Yeah.
Like I think there's some people where they go like, my parents came here because they wanted to
Yeah.
Those parents are generally more like shaking up the world. Then there's some people who go, yeah, man, my parents came here because they had to. Something happened. And I find sometimes, not always, but sometimes those people are like, listen, this is not my choice.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to be shaken up again. So I'm not going to be in a position where I can be shaken up.
What are some of these circumstances?
People don't leave their home, their country, their language, their culture, their family, all behind to go do evil things in your country. You are not enough of a main character for other people to throw away their life for that. People leave their entire lives behind to seek better lives. That's why they do it. That's the only reason that people immigrate.
Please understand this. People are leaving their families and friends to go live in another country. They're not doing it for fun. Ever since I came here to Germany, I heard a lot of insults about immigrants, among other facial expressions insinuating bothersome. I personally didn't receive any racism, but unfortunately my mother and sister did. These people don't realize how immigrants are obliged to leave their countries for a better life because of how unfair this world is. You know, when you play a game, you made a very good progress, you're doing good, but mistakenly you press the start new game button rather than continue. That's exactly how it feels to be an immigrant. New language, new system, new house that you need to furnish, new people, new everything. What we spent years building, like language, relationships, favorite places, hobbies, driver license, etc., now we have to build in a matter of few years so we can continue from where we left. I hope this video also gave you an idea on how it is to be an immigrant in case you're also thinking about leaving your home country. Have you ever received racism yourself? Let me know in the comments.
Over the last 10 years, I have found 3 main reasons that people migrate to a new country. Reason number 1 is for opportunities. Opportunities like better paid job, progression opportunities, or a better lifestyle. I once met someone who was working in an IT company in India for 11 years, and he was getting paid 50,000 rupees a month, which is about $1,000. He migrated to another country and instantly started making $3,000 a week because of his skills. Can you imagine the joy, the happiness, and the sense of achievement for him and his family? Can you see how migration positively impacted this family?
Is immigration a problem in the UK?
No,
Why did you say no?
because it's fundamental to our existence. We don't have enough people being born in this country, we need immigrants. It's simple.
Do you think we have overpopulations in major cities?
No, not at all. We need to build houses, we need to make them so that people can buy them and own them and stop them being owned by landlords.
In the last 10 years, there's 6.2 million people on the waiting list for NHS, 2 million children in poverty in the UK. Allegedly, that is due to immigration. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's not due to immigration. Immigration is the reason our NHS works. The thing that causes that is governments deliberately underfunding and sort of underutilising the NHS for what it could really be. It's nothing to do with immigrants coming in, it's to do with it being badly managed and badly funded.
Let's be honest for a second. Nobody wakes up one day and says, I can't wait to leave my home, my people, my culture and everything I know. and start from zero somewhere else. That's not how immigration works. One of the most powerful ways to understand this comes from Trevor Noah's podcast and talks. He once explained it in a way that really sticks. People don't live because they want to, they live because they have to, because something pushes them out harder than the fear of starting over. And if you think about it, it's heavy truth, because home is more than just a place. It's identity, it's comfort, it's language, it's food, memories, family. So leaving that behind isn't exciting, it's painful. So when people immigrate, especially in large numbers, it's usually not about chasing luxury. It's about escaping limitations. Some are running from war, some are escaping economic collapses, some are looking for safety, opportunity, or simply a chance to survive. And this is where the conversation often gets misunderstood, because on the outside it can look like people are flooding into countries, taking opportunities, changing the systems, but very few stop to ask the deeper question: what made them live in the first place? No one lives a stable, functioning environment just for the thrill of it. Migration is often a response to pressure, political instability, lack of jobs, corruption, insecurity. It's not always a choice. Sometimes it's the only option. And Trevor Noah touches on something else that's important. He speaks about how people often judge immigrants without realizing that in a different situation they might do the exact same thing. Now, because if your family was struggling, if your future looks uncertain, if safety wasn't guaranteed, will you stay or will you leave? That's the uncomfortable question that is asked around. Now, at the same time, you also have to acknowledge the other side. Countries receiving immigrants also face pressure on jobs, housing, healthcare, infrastructure, and citizens in those countries have real concerns. That part of the conversation is valid too, but the mistake happens when we simplify the issue. When we reduce immigrants to a problem instead of seeing them as people responding to a problem, because immigration is not just a movement, it's a symptom, a sign that something somewhere isn't really working. And instead of asking why they are coming here, maybe we should also be, asking why can they stay where they are? Because the real solution doesn't just lie at the borders. It lies in fixing the root causes, creating stable economies, accountable leadership, and opportunities in the places people call home. Now, looking at these videos, my final thoughts is, at the end of the day, nobody really wants to leave home. People leave when staying becomes harder than leaving, and that's something we need to remember before we judge, before we react, before we divide, because behind every migrant there's a story, a reason, a decision that wasn't easy. So maybe instead of seeing immigration as just a problem to control, we start seeing it as a reality to understand. I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think people are choosing to leave or being pushed out? Drop your perspectives in the comment section below. And if you want more real, honest conversations like these, make sure you like and subscribe. See you in the next